Now let's look at the squad. I mean, obviously you made a number of signings. It's been a bit of a rebuild this summer, as we know. So let's just go through, really, I suppose, from back to front. Obviously, starting with Mitch in goal. So in goal, you've obviously signed Mitch. So just tell us what he's going to bring to the team.
Well, I spoke quite in depth before our interviews regarding Mitch. He was someone that I'd kept in touch with for a long time, and when I spoke to him, he was very happy where he was, and the chances of getting him wasn't really going to happen, and then circumstances changed, and we were very fortunate to get. And it's just someone that I just felt that knows the club. I'm not one for taking old players. I think it's very difficult for players that have done well at a club to go back and have a decent spell. That very rarely happens. So that was always on my mind. I spoke to quite a few ex-players, and some of them expressed quite a lot of interest to come back. But my methods has always been sometimes it's difficult to replicate it again later on in your career. But with Mitch, that was different. I still believe that he should be playing a lot higher, and he obviously had that injury, and chose, obviously he's got a young family now and his work, but I know he's fully committed. He's a fit boy. He loves the club. He loves doing what he does. It's still, I'm sure he still thinks a hell of a lot about his game individually, and I really think he's going to be a big help to myself, understanding what it takes to win games of football, and obviously for the fans and everyone around the club. So I think I was so pleased for lots of reasons to get Mitch on board.
Now just go through all the defenders that you signed. So just talk us through each one, and same thing really. What you think they're going to bring to the side.
Obviously, along with Mitch, we spoke again previously with Joe and Luca coming along. They had a very good defensive, unit at Whitehawk last year. I think they were the top seventh defensive partnership. So I just felt we'd bring them in. I looked in depth, obviously, before committing on both of them. Obviously, as you know, that I'm very big on characters. Both come with a really good pedigree regarding character, and ability. Joe will be the more dominant one, and Luca will sweep up a little bit and look to play, and also can be pushed into midfield if need be. Yeah, so on the back of signing them two, defensive wise, Roman agreed to stay, which I was really pleased. He had opportunities to stay in the National South, and really delighted that Roman stayed. He's got a lot of good attributes. A very strong 1v1 defender, another good lad, and I really think that if he can, really concentrate on his football and dedicate his life to it, he's got an opportunity to play higher. Then we brought in Tamas, who is a defender, but a little bit of a utility defender. He has good attributes, very, very quick, a strong boy, another great lad. Really enjoyed working with him so far. A really, really good guy, and he's got himself a couple of goals from right back as well. So, hopefully, if you can get a fullback that can score goals as well, that's going to help and chip in with goals. And then we brought Cisse back. Cisse was here when I turned up previously. He was having a bit of a rough time with things. I don't really know the ins and outs, but he got in touch with me over pre-season, asked if he could come in, and it's just sort of gone on and developed from there. And I'm really excited. He's another really talented boy, a really good footballer. He can get forward as well. He can deliver a good ball. I'm really looking forward to working with him as well. And then obviously we have Big Jerry. I felt last year I made it quite public that I felt we were missing a big, strong, dominant boy in both boxes. I spoke to Jerry quite a lot over the summer. He played higher. He had a bit of a rough time of things last year, and after I did actually try and bring him in middle of last season, but that didn't quite work out. But I think he spoke to a lot of people. I think he'd done his homework on the club and us, and he decided to join. And another, great lad, great size, real big, strong character. Happy-go-lucky lad. And again, looking forward to working with him, and hopefully he can be really dominant for us. And from the academy, we've taken Matty, who was with us a little bit last year, went out on loan and done exceptionally well. He went out to a club that I've got a good friend at, and he really raved about him. And obviously Matty's a little bit younger, so he's gonna have to bide his time a little bit. But if and when called upon, he certainly won't disappoint, and he can cover both fullback positions. So yeah, really pleased to have him on board.
And of course, the midfield's been beefed up as well. Let's talk through the midfield.
Yeah, the midfield. That's been the hardest sort of positions to fill. Really, we've only really just sort of sorted out in the last week. We spoke at length with Luc Baptiste. Obviously, he played more of a wide forward last year. He was very keen to play midfield. And if I'm being brutally honest, I wasn't so sure, but I said we'd give him an opportunity. And he's come in and been that box to box midfielder, and he's had a really, really strong pre-season. Again, another great lad. Got lots of good attributes. He's still got a lot. He's still got a bit to learn regarding playing that midfield role. But I think he's going to have a really, really bright future. We took Harrison Ponce, who was a part of the academy with Mike previously from Herne Bay. My type of player, someone that's going to sit in the midfield, another great character. Plays with an old head, a little bit similar to Henry Young, in that sense. Makes good decisions. A winner, a leader, can slot in at the back if need be. And I think he was very keen to be part of this. Absolutely delighted to have him. And again, I think he's had a really strong pre-season, and really enjoyed working with him so far, and someone that wants to progress and push on as well. Then we had, obviously, just recently we had the three boys, Wilco, who's come back. Wilco, tried to. I'm not saying tried to get away, but Wilco made it very clear to me from day one that he wants to play as high as he can. He wants to be a full-time footballer, and they're the type of boys I want around. And it didn't quite work out for him this pre-season, but we managed to, he's re-signed, and I have to say, he's come back looking really sharp, determined, strong, fit. Again, his attitude's been spot on. So really pleased to see him again this year. Then we've had Jaden Drakes Thomas, who was with us a little. He was with us to the end of last year. Didn't get major opportunities. Very, very talented footballer. Very talented footballer. One of them left-footed lads that just looks so comfortable on the ball. He's got a bit to learn, I feel, how to play that role at this level. He was at Colchester and played more sort of I call it academy football, but getting the ball on the ball all the time. But I want boys to play in the right areas. I don't really want to take chances where we don't need to take chances. So he's got a bit to learn on that. But yeah, another boy that's got he's got I feel a really good chance if he can sort of grasp it, get his head around it, and do the other side of football. Really, again, looking forward to watching him play. And then we've got Alfie Matthews, which has been going on a little bit in the summer. He's been over in Australia. We sort of spoke probably 4-6 weeks ago now, and he agreed that he'd want to come. But until they turn up, you don't really know whether that's going to happen or not. But he come back with a bit of a thigh injury. So he's been with us training, and he looks, he really does look a special talent. He's got really good pedigree. Arsenal as a boy, England under 16. This boy can definitely play. It's finding him a position within really the starting 11 where we go, because he can play a centre forward, he can play a wide forward, he can play midfield as a 10, or he can play centre midfield. He's literally a footballer that really can play anywhere. Got a lot of talent, a real lot of talent. Really, really excited to have him here and see where we can, where it goes. Really,
yeah.
And
it wasn't long ago, as you say. He was at Arsenal, and they were absolutely raving about him. He was even described as a wonder kid. So, and obviously, you get a lot of these good young players like that who sometimes it just doesn't work out, and then they find themselves in non-league. But he seems to be showing a good attitude.
Yeah, he's shown an unbelievable attitude. He's travelling in, he's travelling in from quite a distance. he wants to be here, and it's just sometimes a fresh start. He's done really well at Braintree. He had a tough time last year, and it's difficult for these boys when a bit like Jerry. When it's all rosy and everything's going fine, that first knockback in their career is really difficult for these boys to take. But it happens, and it's all part of the growth. So hopefully, we've got him just at the right time. I think he's 22. He's still a very young boy. He doesn't seem, he seems a lot older than that in the way he holds himself and plays. So it's going to be exciting and interesting. Is Alfie Matthews. But we've also got midfield Henry Young, who again done very well for us last year. Unfortunately, he picked up. He had a blocked tackle at the first pre-season game at Sevenoaks, so he's been unable to feature recently. But he's back in training, hopefully tonight. So hopefully we'll get him back involved, and another lad that if and when called upon, won't let us down. Big heart, good player. I've been really impressed with him. So really pleased to have him again this year.
And last but not least, the strikers. Obviously, fans always get excited about strikers. Just tell us, how happy you are with the front line.
Yeah, really happy. I'll be honest with you. I did target some other guys early on that are a little bit more experienced, a little bit more proven. I always felt I wanted boys with pace. I wanted a bit of size, a bit of flair, and I wanted really, to have 6 of them. So if we did play 3, obviously using the 5 subs this year, it would give us sort of 3 off, 3 on. So then 3 positions are at full tempo for throughout the game. And we've been really, really pleased with them. I think they've all scored pre-season. They all know they're fighting for positions. They all, really wanted to be here. And I think they're going to excite myself and everyone involved. I think that all of them can take people on 1v1s. All of them can score. All of them have got pace. All of them are strong. So really looking forward to seeing all of them. So that obviously we've got Annie in, who's a bit of an old-fashioned number 9, who's going to cause problems. He's played. He hasn't played at this level. He's played below, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for him, because he will be up against boys similar size at the back, where I think that he's dominated most centre halves throughout his career a little bit lower. We brought Lindor in, who can play either side or down the middle. Actually, he can play in any 3 of the positions. Someone that's going to terrorise. I'd like to think he's going to, get lots of opportunities and win quite a few penalties with the way he plays. Nick Hadge has stayed. I spoke about him in length previously. Really delighted to have kept Nick Hadge. I really hope that he can start the season strong for himself. He beats himself up far too much. He's such a talented boy. He's one of them left footers that you can't get the ball off him. You see him in training, and he's a bit of a maverick. Is Nick Hadge, but he's got so much potential. Again, another one that can play across any of the 3 positions. He can play down the middle if need be. He can play in the 10 also, or either side. So gives us a lot of flexibility. We brought young Jaden in, that done well in the level below last season. Someone that I really like. Good 1v1, very strong legged, very, very sharp and quick off the mark, and can also score a goal. So that's Jaden. And then we got Ruben. Again, we spoke to Ruben a little bit. Ruben was at Tunbridge, and we were fortunate enough that Jay sort of recommended him to us. He didn't take the decision to take him, so I recommended him. And again, he's another one that again is very flexible, can play down the middle, either side. Got a great leap, got great feet, strong boy. And not only that, he's he's far from old, but he comes across as more of an experienced older guy that's going to help the younger boys about him. Very knowledgeable football, understands what we want. a lad that's always smiling, always positive. I'm already sort of taking the mick out of him a little bit because he hasn't got as many goals as he should pre-season, but he's telling me he's saving them up. So we shall see. And then we've kept Archie Hatcher, who fits into the midfield forward bracket. Someone that when he's on the ball, you always think something's going to happen. Very, very calm. Great striker of the football, both feet, good dead ball. He's one of them boys that out of nothing can win you a game of football. He's going to have to be patient because obviously the sort of lads we've got in, it may be one slightly for the future. But again, if he gets his chance and does well, I'm sure he'll take it and do well for us. We brought in Kieran from Gillingham, who was part of Mike's academy previously. Unfortunately, he missed a lot of last season with a foot injury, and he hasn't quite recovered. So he played for us at Sevenoaks, but had a reoccurrence. So Kieran's with us, but he'll be out a while. It looks like he may have to have an operation. We're waiting to hear. Mike speaks very highly of him. Like I say, Gillingham took him out of the academy at a younger age. He's got some very good attributes. So that will be one that we'll see how we go. Hopefully he can fully recover and then be part of us as the season progresses.
And just finally, what would you consider a good season? I mean, obviously everyone loves to go for promotion, but what would you consider as a minimum really would be a good season?
To send the crowd happy, send the crowd down the slope happy with some 3 points every now and again would be a start. I mean, it'd be great to win a few Kent derbies because I know that I don't know the record, but I know it's really poor. I mean, I can't remember the last time the club won a Kent derby, so to win a game of football against one of our local rivals would be amazing, and to pick up some as many home wins as we can would be a start. And then we'll see where we go. I mean, the chairman's there isn't any expectation. None of us know really how the season's going to go. We're all optimistic. We're all excited. I'd like to think we're going to have a half decent season with what we got, but football, isn't it? No one really knows. We're a young group, so if we get off to a bad start, it could be difficult. But I'll keep them level-headed, and the old saying, never too high, never too low. And we'll work to get it right if it doesn't start right. But hopefully we can start right, and then we can get on a bit of a roll, bit of momentum, excite the crowd, create lots of chances, and get that unity and that great feel that this place has shown so many times over the years before.